24 years old, and I am a suicide survivor.
Okay, so what brought you here today?
Um, the fact that suicide isn't talked about as much as it should be talked about. There's a lot of people I feel that are suffering from depression um, without an outlet or without a voice, and I guess I'm just here to be that voice.
Thank you. So tell me your story.
Um, well, in the year of the suicide attempt, which was 2013, um, there were a lot of things that were going on as far as um, a lot of deaths that I was dealing with, a lot of relationship, issues that I was dealing with, a lot of self-esteem issues that I was dealing with, and I was never a person to open up about anything, so I just kept it all in, and yeah, I just exploded. So the day it happened, um, I had just broken up with my fiance of a year and a half, and um, I was in a very dark space to where I felt like I couldn't get any help, and if I would have told somebody, it really wouldn't have mattered because of the place that I was in. So um, I went downstairs in the kitchen and I grabbed a knife and went upstairs in the bathroom and I locked myself in the bathroom. I just did it. Um, and after the fact of sitting there for a while, I asked my aunt to drive me to the hospital where I was on suicide watch for, I'll say, a good maybe 5 or 6 hours. Um, and then I was left at the hospital, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
I was left at the hospital. So I had to find a ride back to my house. That was the situation.
Okay, so was this the only time you attempted it?
That I acted on it, yes.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you chose that method, or was it just like something like you could do at that time?
Well, that method only came because it was the easiest method. Um, I didn't have any pills, and I'm not the one to drown myself in pills because I hate taking them. Um, and I find it awkward enough that it didn't work because I had the actual brand new straight razor on my dresser. On my dresser has it just completely just passed my mind. Um, but I don't know. It's just the first thing that I could find, the easiest thing to get to, the quickest thing to have.
And what stopped you from going further?
The fact that I had a sister on the way. I had a younger sister on the way.
So did you try anything before this that didn't work? And I don't mean like suicide attempts, but just anything to like cope, whether it was healthy or unhealthy, just anything prior to that.
I indulged myself in a lot of um, activity, being around people in environments and energy that wasn't good for me. Um, like I said before, I held a lot of stuff in. Aside from that, I really didn't do anything. It was just a lot of thoughts.
So did anyone know that you were having these suicidal thoughts?
No.
And you didn't reach out to anyone?
No.
So is it because you didn't feel like you had a solid support system, or you were just scared, you didn't know what to say?
Honestly, it was a portion of the support system. Um, I've done a lot of things on my own, And coming from the family that I come from, I won't say a lot of things are swept under the rug, but you're not able to voice yourself without at least feeling judged, um, or actually being judged on the action or the thought or, you know, what you do.
Would you say you still have thoughts of this suicide today?
Not today. I have had, since it happened, I've had a lot of suicidal thoughts. When my grandmother passed away back in 2016, that was my girl. She, she was like the person that got me through a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I lost her, I feel like I was in that point where there's like no purpose for me to live.
So, what was different about that time? What kept you from attempting suicide again and just like leaving it at thoughts?
The fact that I found my purpose in life.
You want to speak more on that?
When I get approached a lot, a lot of people tell me that I'm a great listener, and I don't know if it's because of my understanding of a lot of things or if it's because of I've been through a lot of things, but I'm able to understand a lot of situations and a lot of experiences. So I feel like helping people and being able to save someone from their own self, the bad part of their self. I feel like that's my purpose.
Okay, so after your first attempt, did family then find out like a lot of what you were going through, or friends?
I started to speak about it more. Um, my mom found out, and it's kind of bad. She found out through Facebook.
Oh,
And I feel she was. I think she was kind of angry because I didn't come to her, and she's always been the type of mom to, you can come to me about anything. But in that moment, I didn't. Um, I was very selfish, and very blinded by my own thoughts. So some of my family, they found out. Some of my family still don't know. I try to talk about it as much as I can because I feel like when you talk about it, it's not so much as a stigma anymore. It's not a stereotype. It's not a statistic type thing. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of people that you see, you don't automatically think that, oh, she's, she tried to kill herself before, or she had thoughts about killing herself. You don't see that. And I feel like if it's not, brought to the forefront, how do you know about it?
right. So this is the turnaround, and this is where we talk about things that are more positive. So, at what point would you say things started to improve for you?
I started to find myself. I started to spend more time with myself. I started to figure out who I was. Aside from what people threw on me as far as stereotypes, I was basically finding my peace, finding my happiness. And once I started to do that, I would have to say that's where it changed. And of course, my sister, she's 4. And it's like I have to be the perfect role model for her because we're 20 years apart. So the things that she sees me do, she follows. And I can't afford to mess that up.
So what coping methods? You good?
Yeah.
What coping methods work for you?
I write a lot. I'm a big music listener. Like I feel like when I listen to music, I become one with the music.
Same.
Yeah, yeah, and I love to go by water. Water brings me a lot of clarity.
So I'm curious, when you write, do you reread the things you wrote or do you throw them out or what?
No, I keep them. I reread them. I go to like a poetry night and I've read like two of the poems. Yeah.
That's dope. Have you ever tried therapy? Is that something?
No, I've never tried therapy. I'm not really big on therapy. And it's not just the thing about just having a stranger and talking to a stranger. It's just I don't know. I'm more comfortable when I'm within myself.
Same. Okay, so what advice would you give someone who may not have attempted suicide yet, but is getting to a point where that might be what comes next?
The advice that I would give anyone who is attempting or having thoughts of committing suicide is not necessarily find someone to talk to, just talk about it. Don't hold it in. Find an outlet. Find something that makes you happy. Find something that brings you wholeness. And know that regardless of the situation that may be happening in your life, you do have a purpose. And the whole point of that purpose is for you to live your life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay, and this may be the same answer you just gave. It may be something different. But what advice would you give someone who has attempted suicide and maybe just trying to get past that part in or time in their life, or is struggling with maybe going back to that and attempting again?
Spend a lot of time with yourself. You find a lot of clarity in the things that you do and the things that happen. Let's say if you just sit in, it doesn't even have to be a dark room. You can just sit in a room, light some candles, or even without candles. However you want to do it, just have time for yourself and make sure that you stay grounded. And it may not be the easiest thing, and I know that it's not the easiest thing because I've went back, and it's really hard. It is really, really, really hard to kind of stop those thoughts from happening, but it's possible. And if you can't find someone, if you don't have a support system, if you don't have someone to talk to, if you don't have a way to voice those thoughts or voice what you're feeling, write it, sing it, dance it. Find a different outlet for it.
How's that? Thank you.
Yeah.